a good marriage, you need to allow your husband to be the leader.
Yeah. Well, and I'm a believer that I'm a believer in men pastors. I believe men ought to pastor churches, not women. I know there's women that have to do things they shouldn't have to do. Okay, but I think there's a leadership position that men have, and I think we've whittled that down in this generation to where we've got these wussified men running around. And what it is some of these women have thought they was doing something cute till they needed a real man.
Right.
And once they needed a real man, they didn't have it, Paul. Okay? Right. They had this other thing that wasn't natural. And I see it, man, and I'm thinking, I worry about that some, and the biggest thing I was sharing with my grandson the other day, I said, now the biggest fear, and he's really solid, my grandson is opinionated, the 18-year-old going to college. Now I said, now the greatest fear I have for you is you'll go there at that college and there'll be some liberal woman with purple hair that you'll get a crush on, that'll mess you up. No, he said, and I said, we talked about it a lot. I said, I don't want this to go on. I said, because, David fought Goliath because he was going to get a woman. The king said, I'll give you a daughter. And I believe that inspired him. But I think and so I said, that's a fear. He said, no, Papa, I'm okay. And we talked about stuff, and I share with him because it's so important. Because when you go to, and there's a different generation now than what there was as far as these relationships between these men and young women. And my daughter Kelsey's been trying to explain it to me, and she ain't really got me won over. But, I said, by the time I was 13, 14, I'd been in love a dozen times. You know what I mean? I'd bought rings at the drugstore and gave to girls and sent notes. Do you love me? I love you. Check yes, check no. You know what I mean? And she said, well, they don't do that now. They can be friends and all this. I said, well, I don't think that's natural. I said, she tells me all about it. But I said, there's difference. And I ain't fighting it because I'm not raising them. Anyway, they'll have to raise. But I think about this. A man has a place. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of women that wind up in places, okay, raising kids. Mm-hmm. But there's always been grandparents raising kids, okay? We think that it's just a big thing now, but as my great-grandparents raised kids that weren't theirs, that were, and so, there's all kinds of that stuff. It's always happened. But I think men have such a position nowadays, and I do see it changing. I see a comeback of real men. And these guys, when I went to the school the other day and I meet with my grandson's friends, these guys are pretty solid. Mm-hmm. And they'll talk to you pretty solid. They're not flim-flammy about stuff. And I see a comeback of masculinity. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
And I don't know. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, I think the men are right now coming back and taking the role that they need to. Just like you said, the men I talk to and fellowship and in church and talk to about it, and they're the head of the house. Mm-hmm. And the woman, they got their role, and that's why the kids come in and they'll run right to the woman and do the nourishing and playing and the cooking for them and the different things. But
are you saying I'm a woman because I cook?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, I thought you just called me feminine there for a minute.
Some of our good times that we've had too, when we had our bookstore.
Right. Yeah.
We had that bookstore.
I forgot about that.
We had that bookstore 10 years, and we met everyone, and it done great. And we really come in prayer, left in prayer. Mm-hmm. I worked, but I came in and done what I had to do. But it was a wonderful time of meeting different Christian people.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I see things, and I don't know, and I've got a little bit of an old point about me, but I can't change some things. Okay, there's some things that I see and things now. Biggest thing when I think about Janice and I wanted to take care of her.
Right.
When I met her, I wanted to take care of her. We were only engaged 2 weeks. So, I mean, it was a short thing, whirlwind. She was a little smarter than me because she was from the city. And I think sometimes, and I do think this, Paul, and you worked in retail. She was my boss. So I'm thinking there was some sexual harassment went on there. Okay, I think she may have.
Conflict of interest.
Yeah, I think I could sue McDonald's or her or both of them together because, and Janet's a little older than me. So I was just like a lamb led to the slaughter. Okay, that's what I'm saying. You know. But
I think I just heard Janice laugh.
She'll be
we,
good.
we think sometimes, you know, we were married in West Virginia with a Virginia license by a preacher that I think was licensed somewhere. And we laugh sometimes. We think that we might be getting along so good because we're shacking up. Okay, we're not sure sometimes. And I think that would give our children a new name. But I was thinking about how we've been married 43 years. 43 years. And but you know, I just think let me share about this. I think this because we're in a similar season in our life. If you're not careful, your world can become small. And I've been studying on this lately. And my cousin and I, we reflect and share this a lot. At a point in your life, your world can become small because you stop making new friends. Okay? And you stop making new friends. About a little over 2 years ago, I recognized this in my life and other people's life, that my world becomes small because in the field of what I do in working and in the ministry, that I'm a little bit narrow, and I started expanding and meeting people, and I volunteer and to do a lot of different things that I normally didn't do, and to meet new people. And because the common thread I find about people that are depressed is they become isolated. Okay, and when you get older, you tend to say, you know, this is the worst thing you can say is I just want to be left alone. Because you don't want to be left alone.
No, you don't.
But you can say it, but you don't mean it.
Yeah.
And because I don't know if you sit by people that died, they weren't happy to be left alone.
That's true.
And I've known people that died alone. You know, so I think if you're not careful, you can become isolated, and you don't make new friends.
That's exactly right. Because if we don't go out and we don't make new friends.
Well, you make friends everywhere you go.
Well, I mean, I just come out of rehab, and every one of them was hugging me and shaking my
He's
hand.
taking them jams and jellies. I mean,
I think
But,
that's, you know.
It's we do need to continue on and
Right.
going out, and it does get narrow. I
Yeah.
agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
But I hadn't really thought about it like that. But if you start thinking about it, it does.
It takes time too to make
Yeah.
new friends. Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I'm volunteering for some different things. I'm on the board for the fair. Okay, and through that, I've met a lot of people that I didn't know before, and I met them. Now, you know, it's a free job that you do, but what it is the benefits I look for is the people. And I've got some other things boards that I'm on, things that I'm on. And I start meeting these new people. After a while, you know, I meet people and they say, "Hey, where you been?" You know what I mean? And I see them. I don't know if do you know Phyllis that goes there, Dr. Karen Hart's mother? She's been out there ever since it opened. Phyllis
I
has.
don't know her.
Anyway, Phyllis comes in, you know, she's been, ever since the Y's opened, she's been there. But and she gets there about the same time I do in the mornings, you know. So I'm always checking on her, looking at my watch, making sure she's there, and I get that clipboard down, and I'll write her name down and put a little X beside of it, you know, and I'll get her all the time. And I'll talk to her, you know, and we talk, and the other people that I talk, and I say, how you doing? Where you been? And we because I want to make sure I keep building those relationships, because you can't just go out tomorrow and build 20 new friends.
No.
Okay, if you do, you'll get some you don't like, and especially if you put an ad on the internet. But what you do, you got to be able to take time and do some things, because if not, man, that world just narrows down and it gets too small, and you become isolated.
well, over the years, I mean, we know everybody. You know, I don't know Phyllis, but yeah, I'd like to meet Phyllis.
I'll tell her.
Yeah, but we know a lot of people in Tazewell, and it's fun sometimes because we do go out, but
Oh,
when we
church the other day,
Yeah,
we
but the whole thing about church, let's just talk about
Okay,
church.
let's talk.
Okay, now I don't mind y'all coming to church, and y'all haven't been coming there regular.
No,
you haven't.
visit.
Yeah, and you slipped in.
Yeah.
And stole the flour.
Right.
Okay, Janice has been coming a lot. Okay, this is what happened.
I was very worried
Well,
about that.
I think they gave you that flour.
The
I think it was
first
rigged.
number out of the
It was,
hat.
it was rigged. They said, "Oh, she hadn't been here in a while. She might come back. Let's give her the flour." You know what I mean?
that's what
We hadn't been there. Look, we've known Jill and Andy for years.
I worked with his dad.
Yes,
For 35 years.
I mean there is
We
a
were whispering.
relationship that you pick up where you
Right.
left off, But the flowers, I felt bad.
Yeah.
I felt bad.
Yeah, you should have. It was really
But they're
awful.
still pretty. They're,
Well, we were whispering behind your back.
I know.
Janice, I said, "Look at her. Who she thinks she is? She don't even come to church here regular." You know, Janice don't say nothing. She just says, she just puts her head sideways. You know, I have to say everything bad because she won't
do
say
you
it.
know I was convicted over those
You
flowers?
should have. You really
and
should have.
let me tell you what happened. Honest to goodness, I said to myself, I should have gave those flowers to someone.
Janice, you should have gave it to somebody. Or there's a little old lady that sits in front of us. She's been coming since
I did, John.
1942.
I'm serious.
Yeah, you really.
I felt really bad.
A lot of people were upset.
But then I thought,
A
well,
lot of
you
good
know
Christian
what?
people were mad.
Why not me?
Because you don't come regular. That's why. I mean, everybody else comes. We sit through Andy sometimes when he don't preach that good. I mean, we all listen. We take our time. We give in the offering all the time. Even
I mean, Cassie really should have gotten the flowers.
Cassie should have.
She
For-
does.
Cassie.
I'm
Man,
telling you.
I've known her since she was a little
We
girl.
have too, John.
I mean, when she first moved here,
Yeah.
her dad, I was in his biology class the first year he taught at Big Creek High School.
Wow.
And the first year he taught, I knew when she was just a little girl, and she couldn't have been more than 5 years old.
Well, you do know that Paul and I and Bernard Cornwell and
Okay.
Cassie sang, and we
Yeah.
traveled.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Let me say this
Yeah.
real quick. You know, you asked Debbie how long have we known each other. I met you at your little church down on Shake
And
Rack,
Shake Rag.
and I thought the world of you,
We
and
went to
still
revival
do.
or
We went to a
something.
revival,
Yeah.
2 or 3 nights, and it was great. And you
We'd
made us-
heard some things about you,
Yeah.
but we wanted to go see
yeah,
for ourselves.
We had to go see.
You know, there was a guy that walked in there one day. My dad was at the back door, okay? And the guy,
Everybody's heard some things.
Janice, I swear to goodness, that Lord, it's that woman you gave me. Should have taken a little more rib. But there was a guy that come one time. This guy come, and my dad was at the back door at the end of the service. And he come, and he said, he told my dad, he didn't know Dad was my dad. He said, you know, I heard a lot of things about this guy, but I just don't see all the bad things everybody says. He said, Dad said, well, you might ought to come back again, time or two. You know
Well,
what
I mean, you
Time
know,
or
isn't
two.
it funny?
We
You
did
hear
come back.
bad and you hear good, and it. I mean, I'm sure you've heard bad and good on us, but we did. We heard bad and good, but we wanted to go see, didn't we? We said,
And then
let's
it
go
seemed like
see.
everywhere we went, we saw John Town.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was all good. And
But you know, I think that happens to us. I know I'm a little hard to take. Okay, I've conceded that. You know what I mean? Because first thing, I like people, and I'm not going to be real careful. Okay, I'm going to be careful. I'm not going to hurt anybody's feelings. I will really back up. Okay, and before I hurt you, I mean, I won't tell you. Okay, I'll be like this. What happened one time? We had a restaurant. You know, we had the restaurants for years.
Yeah.
One time we had one in the mall at Claypool Hill. We had a called John Boy's in the Claypool Hill Mall.
I
didn't
remember.
know
I
that.
remember.
Yeah, I had one in Richlands Mall. I had 8 of them, and I had this used to be a silver skillet out here.
You started in war, though.
Started in war, yeah.
I remember that one.
Yeah, and I've done everything. But anyway, so anyway, there was a lady come walking down the hallway, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
She had her pocketbook on her arm, like a lady carries it. But she had went to the bathroom, talking about how some people really don't care a whole lot about you. And she had tucked the back of her dress into her pantyhose, and her rear end was showing big as daylight. And she was walking, she was so proud, walking down that hallway. And we all came out of the stores as she walked by. Nobody said nothing. Nobody loved her enough to say, hey, so there's a message in this, okay? Because you need people around you to let you know when your rear end showing.
That's true.
All right?
That's exactly right.
And if you don't have people around you, okay, that will talk to you and say, hey, man, you're being a little stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, you're being a little stupid, all right? And let's look at this, But, I think about it in our life, but nobody loved her enough to tell her. She just walked right on down the hallway. It's just as proud as can be.
Yeah.
So sometimes in life, I don't know, I know that you can't put me. I shared this with all these kids the other day, big school. I said, you can't put me where God don't want me. I really believe that in my life.
That's good.
I've been in enough places, done enough things. Lord, I've slept in the mountains for weeks at a time with the Indians and back in Mexico. I've stood in Norway and preached. England. You can't put me where I'm not supposed to be.
Wow.
When I stopped pastoring the church, some people went crazy. I pastored almost 20 years, but I knew that season was over.
Right.
And I knew that the media, God said, I want you to do this in the media ministry. I want you to do this. Wow. And we've got all these ministers that come here and film, that count on us to do what we do. I put them all over the world, over 60 countries. All these ministers are on. But I knew I had to make the change that I was supposed to make. Okay? And I made sure everybody found another church to go to, and I worked through all that. But you got to know when it's time for you to do something different.
And that's so hard.
Oh, wow.
That's been one of my downfalls because I think we get so comfortable and satisfied, don't we, Paul?
Absolutely.
And, we have to accept what God has for us and be willing to step out. Be willing to say, okay, I'm finished trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
So and then I'll say, Paul, what do you think? What are we going to do?
I think Paul's pretty good because you seem like you talk a lot, Deb. Like it's a lot of jibber jabber goes on there. Okay, a lot of
and he listens
waking
to me,
Paul
John.
up. Wake up, Paul. I got something I want to say.
He likes me, don't you, Paul? And you
Listen
listen to
how
me.
you said that. Okay, you like me, don't you, Paul? You were adjusting him right now. You should have just asked the questions.
I know.
Yeah. I don't know how you would even said
Is that
question.
controlling?
Oh, absolutely
Okay.
controlling,
All
like
right.
you did with the flowers.
Yeah.
But I think about that. But you really should give those flowers away.
Paul thinks before he speaks, and I don't. Okay? Don't you, honey?
Absolutely.
I think that's just the way we are.
That's just the way we
I don't
are.
have to worry about that much. I figure at this point in life, what the heck? You know what I mean? And I talk to everybody. When you've been in retail and stuff like that, at the gas pump, I've had more conversations at the gas pump. What kind of mileage did you get in there, buddy? I'm just like that commercial. They got some commercial. Is it about the insurance or something where the man's always trying to get the people to quit talking to everybody like they know what's going on? Janice just looks at me every time that commercial comes on. I said, I can't do nothing about it.
Never made a stranger.
Does Janice talk a lot?
No.
No.
And once I get her cranked up, she's like a home light. If I get her around people and get her to talking, she'll say, I don't want to talk to
And some people will read that wrong.
Right.
I know I have
Right.
before.
Yeah.
Because, I know I can just walk up and talk to you anywhere,
Yeah,
anytime. And her, I'm kind of like, okay, does she want to talk right now?
She's just standoffish.
Yeah.
She's just.
But I love her.
And she can listen because Janice is the worker in our family.
Yeah.
Okay. She's handles everything. Okay. Somebody asked me the other day about money, and I said, I don't know if I'm rich or poor. If she tells me don't use the card, I know I can't use the card until the check comes in. I hold on. Oh, put that card back in the pocket. I'm poor until the 16th until my check comes in. But she handles all that stuff she does. I just keep working because if I found out I was rich, I wouldn't do anything different. And if I found out I was poor, I'm not going to do anything different. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm just fine like I am.
Well, you'll be content in whatever state you're in.
I'm just as easy.
That's a great attitude. Right
I'm as easy. I'm not going to, it doesn't make any difference. I'm easy about stuff, and we make it just fine. We live good, and the most important thing, I want to be healthy. I want to stay healthy and be able to move, and I want us to be able to have freedom, Debbie. I want to have freedom, and I wouldn't want to have freedom in a pop-up camper. But
Can we get us a drive camper?
yes, Debbie, why don't y'all do that? If you did,
okay.
I start socializing with you.
Are we going in debt here?
Now listen,
No.
Debbie, you can go in debt for some things. Okay, you can finance them for a long time.
Who is it?
believe
Ramsey?
me.
Is it the Ramsey
Oh,
plan?
geez,
No.
don't pay attention to
My
them silly people.
daughter-in-law, she did the Ramsey.
Yeah.
They got out of $65,000
See,
worth of debt.
you know what I found too is what we do is we make a half a payment. That you wouldn't believe how much difference that
I
makes.
know.
Making that half payment.
Yeah.
And people don't know if you make if your payment's $600 a month, make that $300 on the 15th, the
Right.
other $300, and then you can knock yours off.
But isn't it funny when you start paying that off, how you get all these other credit cards coming
Oh
in?
Lord, and my credit rating is through the roof. Okay,
Yeah.
Over the years, it's just gone through. What I had done is when we were in the gas well business, when we were in it and worked for Consol, every time I bought 6 bulldozers, but I had to sign for them.
Right.
And my credit rating went. You know, they said, "How are you making $12,000 payments when you only make $2,000 a month?"
Right.
And I said, "It's magic." But I mean, it's what you had. You had to run around and try to figure all those things. But at this point in life, things starting to change. But I mean, you can go in debt for a motorhome. The Lord will understand. Okay. And listen, when you get ready to do it, you'll call Janice and I because we are experts.
Okay.
We've studied for years. I know everything about them. I can go in them lots and make fools out of them poor people try to sell them. I know everything about them. I crawl right up under them. I've crawled all up under mine, all the wiring, and worked on everything. Everything's tied and done. I'm a fanatic on that stuff. But
I don't know. We'll have to pray about that.
When people say that.
We can't buy another pop-up.
No, do not get no pop-up. I swear, you guys, at this point in your life, you need a motor.
Well, we've had it a while, and we don't go much
I mean,
anymore.
you've definitely got your money's worth out of it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure.
I like the beachfront. I like the beachfront.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So what you do is, okay, I see your pictures down there, y'all on the beach in the bikinis. I see you down there. Okay, so when we go to Destin, Florida, where all the rich people live, okay, we go to Destin, Florida. It costs me $99 a year for a Virginia State Park Pass.
Wow.
We go to Destin. The Cracker Barrel's right across the street from Henderson State Park. We go over there, we sleep in the Cracker Barrel parking lot, okay? Then we go drive right over in the state park in that white sand and get out like all the rich people, same old sand they got, same blue,
Same thing.
emerald green water. It costs us nothing.
Nothing.
Okay? And so what I mean is you can do stuff and I'm very thrifty in that arena. But when it comes to having a motorhome, it made such a difference for us because it gave us such a freedom. And we've not stayed in a motel but 2 or 3 times in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Because now I like my own bed. You know what I mean? In that camper, and our own refrigerator, and our own stuff, and I like cooking in it. I'll get stuff and cook right in there wherever I'm at. But I think the Lord will understand, Deb.
Yeah, okay.
I think don't be so tight. Okay, you don't leave it. I tell my kids all the time. I got my kids together several years ago and gave them everything I had. The house I live in belongs to Colson and his
there you
wife.
go.
I done every piece of property, everything, gave everything away. And I said, now, I gave my daughter Kelsey the house that we live, the big house. We gave her the towels, the curtains, everything. I said, but now we ain't leaving you nothing when we die. I said, we're going to spend every nickel. And your mom and I, we're spending the money, baby.
Well,
We're
that's
spending
what
it.
our oldest son tells us all the time. Don't live to leave us something.
No.
Have fun.
All that would do is mess them up.
Yeah.
right.
It makes them mad, makes them fight.
Well,
Yeah.
like you said, though, our kids make way more than we make.
Actually, look at it, man. You
Yeah.
know, how come when they need money, they come and see you, though? You ever wonder about that? That's okay, though. I really don't mind.
And at Christmas, they love the Christmas gifts.
Yes. I don't. Do you pick out Christmas gifts, Paul?
I do some. I do. And
He
I do.
loves to
I
shop.
Do
love
ya?
to shop, and yeah.
I
do.
don't.
I do.
I never know when I'm getting anybody. Janice just gets it.
Now she gets stuff, and we just share what we get, but I do pick out several.
We buy each other something that we go in together on a gift and give it to each other, like these Jackery units. And you need to really look into that. That's the neatest thing you ever seen. I mean, I can power my house with this unit.
Wow.
And
Wow.
it's really neat. All it is a inverter.
Inverters.
It's
what
just
it
an
is.
inverter.
I know exactly
12
what
volt.
inverters are.
It's a big inverter is what it is. And I built one time.
Yeah.
I built one in the shop. I built one with 12 volt batteries and hooked them in series and got
Yeah.
me an inverter. But I mean, we do something we say, all right, let's just get this for each other. You know what I mean?
Right.
We go in and say, let's buy this for each other because, you get a point, you don't need nothing. What do you need? I mean, it's
No, she gets stuff all the time.
yeah. Well, we Amazon pretty hard. If we need it,
Amazon.
my mom orders her food. She orders most everything. She gets everything off Amazon. Cat food.
What about that?
She orders stuff off Amazon, and she does.
So you don't do the Walmart pickup?
No,
No.
I like to shop.
Yeah.
I go to Food Line almost every day.
We do too.
I go in there and look around and see if it's got a yellow tag on something, and I grab that meat because a lot of elderly ladies that slip in there early, they'll slip in and get it before you do. They get the stuff, and I slip in there and grab that stuff and run over there if I don't even want it. You know what I mean?
I know.
I get it, and put it up there.
I'm the same way.
We go to Kroger's sometimes. Kroger's is beautiful. Oh man.
Do you go to Princeton or where?
No,
Down-
in Ohio.
Ohio. Okay.
And man,
that's-
we go in that
that's
Kroger's.
big right there.
It's just like it's fascinating. Food Line's okay, but when you go in Food Line, it's nothing like Kroger's. But when you walk in Kroger's, it's just like there's so many selections of different things.
Mine just goes everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, other place I go into, I don't know what Janice will know where it is, where they do all that 10 for 10 stuff. One day I was in there, it was a grocery store down at Bristol, and I went in and they had all this 10 for 10 and all that stuff, or 10 by 10 or whatever. And I called her on the phone. I said, I'm having a little bit of a panic attack. I said, I don't really want all this stuff, but they keep telling me on these signs, it's 10 for something
10 for
today.
10.
And she said, just push your buggy over to the side and leave the store. And that's what I did. I calmed down. I said, I can't take that. That's too much stress
What
for me.
about that?
I don't need it. And I'll come home with stuff. We've got a pantry, and I put lights in it, motion sensors in my pantry. I've got it all laid out anyway. Then I'll have 20 bottles of ranch dressing. And she says, why do you keep buying the ranch dressing? I said, I don't know. I just see it, and it's on sale, and I'll have stuff, I'll have the awfulest mess of stuff you've ever seen. I like cooking, though.
I think it's a man thing because he wants to buy 5 bottles of mayo. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no.
I do.
No.